practiced real football the last couple of days. It's been good. Go ahead, ask the question. Who wants to ask?
Let me just start with a softer question.
Sure.
So the early signing period with bowl prep,
Yes.
has that really kind of changed things just because you guys are on the road for 2 weeks and you don't practice, the full allotment, maybe like 9-10 times or whatever?
You know what? There's a new rule out there that a lot of people don't know. So there's not a 15 practice limit anymore. You can practice as many times as you want. You can even, if our goal is on the 31st, we can practice all the way up to the 13th if we wanted to. I mean, you can practice, everybody has the same advantage. You can practice all the way to the national championship game. You kind of got to evaluate your team at the end of the season and see who you have and what's more important. Is it getting them prepared to win a football game by giving them a chance to get healthy? Or is it beat them into the ground, which I wouldn't mind, and practice more? But we got some guys that are nicked up. So being able to be out on the road and being able to watch film, the amazing thing is the ability to have all the games on our computer as fast as we do. I mean, our video department here, Alex and Dan, they do an unbelievable job. And so all those things are with us immediately. So as we're doing the recruiting and going and sitting in your hotel room at night, you can do all kinds of game planning. And that stuff is fun. So we decided to give our guys a week off and let them focus on school and academics because it was right during finals time. And then this last week, we just lifted them to get them back into that shape. And then yesterday was the first practice that we've had since the last game. I thought the structure of that was really, really good. And the energy that they had and the effort that they gave yesterday was awesome. And so looking at it now, I think it was really, really good decision. I mean, you always, when you miss out on practice opportunities, you always wonder if it's the right thing. I don't have any question that it was the right thing to do with how they practiced the last 2 days to give us a chance to win. I think the early signing period is great, though, because you know who you're going to get. If they don't sign, something's up. And so it's a lot easier to fill holes with somebody because you know who's out there and who's not. You don't have to play, you don't have to try and steal anybody because they're already done. The next tricky part is all the kids that want to do stuff for the All-Star game. They're going to sign, they don't want to sign, and the NCAA making it a 2-day signing period really made it hard on those kids because it was like the other one in the spring where you can sign further. You would have some different decisions and it would make it harder. So I like the way the setup of it. I think Tuesday night is always, Tuesday night and the first Tuesday of February has always been a nightmare, okay? Well, now it's tonight. This is as hard a deal. You got to, I mean, you're making phone calls, and I think FaceTime is a great thing because you can see where they're at. Turn it out, show me where you're at. I mean, what are you doing? So and it's good. I mean, if you have that relationship with them, which we do with 90% of our kids, they don't mind, and it's good. I mean, when I was first, you used to be able to, on signing day, there'd be 2-3 coaches parked at the house waiting until they made it a dead period. So I mean, it's changed significantly. But this night is not, it's not easy. There'll be a lot of tension tonight, and when those things start rolling in at 6 a.m. tomorrow, it has to be 7 local time, their time, wherever they're sending them from. So the ones that are coming from Tampa will be here at 5 and those things. So back east, so I think fun. I enjoy, and then the cheering them on and talking to them after they sign, because this is a big deal for these kids. I mean, the transfer portal's changed it a little bit, but they're really making a decision that is life eventful. I mean, it's and for those guys to have the opportunity, there's a great stat in recruiting. 93% of Americans go to college, and when they leave, they owe somebody money. They have debt of some kind, whether it be student loans, their parents, credit cards, whatever. A Division I football player, a Division I full ride scholarship athlete, has a chance to be one of the 7% of Americans that don't have any debt, and owe anybody money when they graduate. And that is a huge advantage. And if you structure academics and you graduate kids early like we do, where we have 15 kids currently playing with eligibility, second in the nation, they have tremendous advantages. And the Champions for Life program that we have here that teaches those kids budgeting, the kid tomorrow morning's a big deal for a lot of people. I mean, it changes their life forever. And it changes our lives forever too, because we find good players, we win. So it's fun.
Some of the latest reports say that you're one of 2 final candidates for that New Mexico job. I guess what does it mean to you to even be in the running? And then Herm said yesterday that he's only 4 weeks.
You know that like I said a couple weeks ago, you listen to everything. there have been some conversations now that I've had. I think they might have owed it to me just because of my history there, and that's great. It's always nice to be wanted. The best thing about the whole deal is the way Coach Edwards and Gene and Ray and Dr. Crow, they have been just super supportive, and that's not everywhere. There's a lot of people that you work for that would not, don't like it. And this one has carried on for a long time with all that stuff out there and rumors and stuff. And so I'm honored that my name's out there in the consideration and all that stuff. There's been conversations. I know a lot of things back there, so I would probably have an advantage as far as I wouldn't need to be on that campus to know what they have. Of all the interest that I had this off season, it's very appreciated. You know, I don't ever want to take anything for granted. I would have zero desire to be a coordinator, a defense coordinator at another Power 5 school, this place. And there's a lot of the ones that gave interest that I would have zero desire to be the head coach. Do I want to be head coach? Someday. I think that opportunity presents itself if you do things right. And the side of being a head coach that I would hate is my position room. I absolutely love spending time with those guys every day. That's one of the major reasons that I do this job. And the relationships with that and the recruiting side of it. That's all that speculation. It is what it is, and I don't have anything for you other than that.
Have you been told about a timetable on that?
No. So, I'll say this. The ability to win is what drives me in this business. I've said it 100 times. I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. And that's really sad because winning is really fun and it's really hard to do in this game. But I really do. I can't stand losing. And if you don't have the ability to win, this job ain't worth it. And so in order for me to take a job, you have to have the ability to win. And I've said that, and so that's really, I don't know what timetable. They're the ones making decisions. It could have been 3 weeks ago. It could have been, I have no idea. I really don't. They haven't told me. I've stood my ground on what it requires, and so, but I have no idea. I couldn't do it.
Well, the question then would be, how do you perceive New Mexico as far as the ability to win?
If they support the program that you can compete for conference championships in the Mountain West, they're going to have to do something. They're struggling. New Mexico's a poor state. Right now, there's some gas and oil money that doesn't go to the school, but the surplus of money within the budget is good. Those people will do everything they can to try and give you a chance to win, but you have to be able to pay assistant coaches. You have to be able to, and really, it's the off the field resources. It's not the head coach's salary. It's everything else that's involved in order for you to be winning. I can take a job where they're going to pay me $1.5 million, and you don't have money for assistants, and you don't have money for academic support, all the frills, recruiting, on campus, off campus. If you don't have that, it makes it almost impossible to win. And so those are the things that New Mexico would need to be stepped up. And it's not just a New Mexico problem. We got some of those issues here. So that would be the perception of the ability to win. How engaged are they in that opportunity?
Danny, when the all-conference honors came out, you guys didn't have any first or second team guys on defense. I'm sure that's something that you obviously strive for. So what did you make of that, and what do you think about how that affects the team moving forward?
I don't think it affects the team moving forward. Those guys, I think it puts a little bit more chip on our shoulder, and I don't let them forget, because obviously we haven't earned the respect for a lot of the things that we should. I think Kobe Williams is no doubt one of the best DBs in this team. The way he played this year. We led the Pac-12 in takeaways. We led the Pac-12 in takeaways per game. We led the nation in caused fumbles. It's because those guys, we have good players doing those things. We didn't get the interception number that I promised y'all, and I apologize for that. I won't do that again. That was too much on my guys, and that's on me. Learn from your mistakes. We're in the top half of our league in every statistical defensive category. Not to have one guy on the first or second team, it's a good chip to have on your shoulder coming into next year. I'll tell you that. And I don't let our guys forget about it. Now, that rah-rah stuff works for a minute, but when you're actually playing the game, it doesn't really matter. But it can give a player the drive to work a little harder in the off season. And I think between Chase and Jack, those guys the last 2 days have been really, really good at practice as far as their mindset. Kobe's Kobe. He hadn't changed. Yeah, that, and I'll give Kobe credit. That stuff doesn't bother him, or at least if it does, he's not letting everybody know. And that's not always easy. But I'm so proud of him. He was our defensive MVP at the banquet, and he was our best player on defense this year for everything he did for the team. And Kobe Williams will have a shot in the NFL. And because of having to play safety this year, which did not service us the best as a defensive unit, but he was our best player in the air times too, it gave him some tape that those guys are really going to be envious of because he fits the nickel spot in the NFL scheme. And so I'm super proud of him, and I can't wait. I mean, we got an opportunity to have a receiver drafted in the first round for the second year in a row from this school. It's awesome. We've got a freshman All-American quarterback. I mean, Brandon's an AP All-American. We are trending in the right way, and there's a lot of really neat things. And the defensive side of the ball, we've got a lot of great players, and I'll keep reminding them that nobody thinks they are. So it's good.
Danny, what are your thoughts on Florida State's offense? It seems like they have some similar situations to yours. Their top running back is going senior year. Their backup quarterback has just left the program. Similar situation.
Very. I think Cam Akers. I wanted to send him a text, tell him thank you. I mean, he saw Eno not going to play, so they're the best guys not going to play. We'll make it even. I'm very kind of him. I appreciate that. Tameron Terry, number 15. He's as good a receiver as we've seen. I mean, he does things like Michael Pittman, Chanel. I mean, all those guys that really cause trouble for everybody in our league. He has that ability. He's their over-the-top threat that is dangerous. Okay, Kalen LeBourne, the running back number 4 that's going to come in for Cam Akers. 2 years ago, he was the #1 running back recruit in the country, 5-star. I mean, so he's got all kinds of ability. And he's got a similar build. He's over 200 pounds. He runs hard. Both Blackman and so since Tony Brooks gone, 12. Both the other 2 quarterbacks, they are very athletic and very talented. The freshman who has another game left, he can take very similar to Khalil Tate as far as when he touches it, he can take it 80 yards for a touchdown. So luckily we got to practice a couple of game plans for our last game of the season. We've got to be able to identify who the quarterback is now that Joey is doing what he's doing. Since he's not out there practicing, we're having to use different bodies, so we lost a little bit of an advantage there. Now, here's a perfect Joey Young. Love the young man. And nobody should be upset with what he wants to do. For why? The portal has changed things in this time of football. The young man has been an unbelievable teammate. And he got an opportunity to play in an elite game and against an elite school. And the young man threw 4, almost 5 touchdowns. He got a taste of it. And all the hard work he's put in, now he just wants to see if he has an opportunity. You can't blame him for that. If it doesn't work out, we're going to love to have him back here. And so those are the kind of kids we want in our program that are going to fight and be just desirable to get out there on the field. Now, you don't know, I mean, he didn't know he's going to get a chance to play. Jaden got hurt. Next guy up is, I mean, football, in the game of football, every play could be the last play for somebody. And we oftentimes as players, and I'm not a player anymore, but take that for granted. Joey's just going to try and get him an opportunity somewhere. He'll get one, and he'll do very well. Getting back to the Florida State offense, McKinney, number 6, a tight end. They're very similar schematic-wise to the last 2 teams we played, Oregon and Arizona. God, I hate to say that, but the anti-200, you know, they're very physical up front. They're big. Number 70, their right guard, he's probably the biggest human being we played this year. They're going for over 400 yards a game. They're running it for 130. They're throwing it for 270. Scoring 30 points a game, 29.8. When you watch them on tape, you get the impression that they throw it everywhere. And the statistic, you look at it, and it's pretty balanced. So they provide a great challenge. the day that they announced the bowl matchups, shoot, we are Florida State. I've always wanted to play Florida State. This would be exciting. And so our kids, the last 2 days have been awesome. They know what challenge ahead. They know how talented. Very similar to a USC team. They have talent everywhere. And well, guess what? We have talent everywhere too that we're excited to go play. It's going to be a heck of a week, and I'm looking forward to going to the Sun Bowl and doing all those things down in El Paso and winning a football game.
They've done that, and it seems like they've had a lot of injuries or situation in their offensive line. A lot of different guys have started.
They have. They've moved. Shoot, they've got 11 different starters in the offensive line, which is a really, really high number. They've played guys at different positions to try and get their best combination. The last couple weeks have been fairly similar. We'll see what I anticipate seeing in our bowl matchup. I mean, they got 2 guys out, we got 2 guys out. They got a good receiver out and running back, we got a good receiver and running back out. So, very kind of them guys to get collaborating and decide to do it together, I guess. But it'll be fun. It'll be good.
Do you think that no matter how the New Mexico thing goes, would you expect that you would coach against Florida State, or is that contingent on the timing of everything?
I mean, I hadn't even crossed my mind. I mean, I plan on coaching in the Sun Bowl and winning that game. I hadn't even thought of that. Couldn't imagine that.